Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome to the Action Coaster Contest Q&A. We opened up our Discord chat to ask questions about the Action Coaster Contest that may have been unclear in the rules video. So here I am to clarify all those additional questions. We got about 40-something questions, so let's just get right on into it. Chapsel says, can we use box cats this time? No, absolutely not. I guess Augie can, but he will likely lose the contest. Next, Neeb asks, as there might be some fatigue from the last contest and this one being somewhat more challenging, would you consider allowing collabs competing in their own rank? I would look at it as a collab as a unfair advantage. If two people work on a coaster and the rest do not, then it would definitely give you an advantage over everybody else, and then everybody's going to want to do it. And I think that defeats the purpose. So if you need a break, just sit this one out. Steven asks, how will you decide what rank a certain person is if they competed in the mini park contest, assuming that that contest isn't over by the time submissions are due, and the fact that they are potential to be promoted a rank or two because of the mini park contest? That's actually a really good question. I'm trying to think how this is going to work now, because there is overlap. Because all the mini park creations will likely be recorded, but the results not be out, I think we'll have a good idea of who deserves a promotion and who does not. So I think I can promote people in advance and have them in their proper new brackets when going into recording the Action Coaster submissions. So maybe you guys won't see the promotions, but on my end, I will, if that makes sense. I think. We'll figure it out. Will we get automatically disqualified if our coaster lags from low frame rate? On my machine, if it lags on your machine, it likely won't lag on mine. I have a high-end gaming rig, but even the best legendary action coasters that I have seen on the channel, such as Tommy T's or Warmgars and Chant and everyone that we showed in the examples, those do not lag below 30 FPS. So I think if you build only what you need to see and you're efficient with your building process, there's no reason it should lag ever. So just be efficient. Are there going to be spotlights during the contests as well? Yeah, we have something in the work for that. Right now, I'm trying to get Zelixor to do park spotlights in advance, and I'm going to try to do some as well, but I'm probably going to be burnt out from park spotlights from the current mini park contest. But we'll see if I get a second wind at some point over the next couple months. I'll try to put some in the backlog, and so will Zell, and that way when the Action Coaster Contest videos are rolling out, we'll have parks on weekends. That's the goal. We would like to shoot for having additional park spotlights alongside the Action Coaster Contest. Does the coaster need to end where it started, a full circle? Well, Zayfor chimed in. Let's see what he has to say. This is an excellent question. My first instinct says, of course, it must be a functional coaster, but as I think about it, does it matter if it crashes at the end and resets? I don't think it really does, but Johnny has the final say, and I will let him respond, and I will update the rules to clarify either way. Damn. Leaving it up to me, Zayfor. Well, I do think if the coaster isn't fully functioning, it may affect the triggers. When it loops into the station and goes into another test run, or if it respawns and does a new test run, will that change the trigger sequence? I don't exactly know. But let's just say we say yes. Now, are we going to get 100 submissions that are all crashing coasters? And I think part of the challenge of the contest would be, how do you make an action coaster that comes back into the station? I think by allowing this, it's going to be a little bit of a cop-out where everyone's going, well, I just won't let my coaster crash at the end, and that makes my job easy. If you used a lift coaster and you ran out of momentum, you could be like, well, this is where my coaster ends. So I think it's a bit of a cheap cop-out, to be honest. And I think the challenge is getting the coaster back. So I'm going to say no, you can't let the coaster crash, because everyone's going to do it. And we want a full cycle coaster, I think. But it's a good question. Apologize if I missed it, but the video doesn't mention, as far as I saw, if these need to all be new from scratch projects, or if they could be something that's been worked on for months that we finish in the next 8 weeks. This has always been a rule for all of our contests. Everything has to be original, and you have to start at the time of the announcement. So no, you cannot use something that you've already been working on for any of our contests. It has to be brand new stuff. But we're allowing you to use blueprints. We're allowing you to use the workshop. So if there's a bunch of stuff that you have in the works, you can kind of package it all up and reuse it, but you're gonna have to start your coaster, you're gonna have to start your layout, you're gonna have to plan things. You can't, even if you had something in the works, it's not an action coaster. It's not what we asked for. If you're wanting a good action coaster, you're gonna have to storyboard that start to finish, and whatever you had in the works did not have that plan set in motion. It was not storyboarded or fitted to a action coaster. So I don't think that's such a good idea. Ecto 1 allowed, I don't know what that means. Next. Can we make an edition of the pink penguin rule? Without the quality can't possibly be advanced. I don't know. Can I have a pre-show for my coaster at the end of my queue that explains sort of the beginning setup of my coaster? I don't want to give away anything for my idea, but it involves a tour company, and before hopping on the train, there's a brief video pre-show explaining the tour. Would that be allowed? Okay, Deanna, there is a little bit of an issue that I see with this. So the way I'm recording the queue, I'm going to open up your ride. I'm going to hit record. I'm going to walk down your queue all the way to the coaster, and I'm going to hit stop record. That length, whether it takes me a minute or 2 minutes to walk down your queue, I'm then going to start a new recording and record your introduction. Hi, Johnny from Channel 5 Gaming, blah, 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 blah. I worked on this thing, and it does this, da, 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 da. And say it takes me 30 seconds to read your introduction. I'm going to take that cue that I walked down, that footage, and I'm going to I'm either going to speed it up or slow it down to match the length of me reading your introduction, and then I'm going to pop it in. So now we get to watch the queue walk. If your introduction was super short and your queue is really long, you're just going to see zipping down the queue insanely quickly, and vice versa. If your introduction is really long, the queue walk might be slow. If you have a pre-show, it's going to get sped up or slowed down, and it might not work. And I'm also not going to, I'm going to be talking. So I'll be talking over said pre-show. But if the pre-show is at the coaster and you want me to watch it before I get on the coaster, after the introduction is given, after the splash screen has gone up and the video is now starting, and I say, let's jump on this coaster, but first let's watch this quick pre-show, that might work, so long as it's in the station. So that would be my answer. A little bit complicated, but hopefully it gives you guys a visual of what's going on. This is going to be my first time participating in anything. I'm new to the game, but I have a question due to my job. I own the rights to some copyrighted music. I did not make these musics, but I own the rights. So can I use these? Where do I submit the coaster when I finish? The coaster will be, the submission form is in the submission, the rules page, and it's also announced in the announcements once the submission form is up. Just because you own the rights to music, I don't. So no, absolutely not. You can't use it because I'm the one using it. Channel 5 Gaming is not my platform, not yours. And in the case where I own the copyrighted music or I have permission to use the copyrighted music, it's a complete nightmare. I'm going to use an example. Pixelated does these pretty crazy coasters. He got the rights from a music creator to use the music in one of his coasters, and then I uploaded the video, but I got flagged, and I did not have the rights for it. He did. So now we had to put in an application for me to get the rights for the music, and the video had to be put on pause. It took a month and a half to get permission to use the music before it was unflagged and put up on the channel. So if you own the music and you want to give me permissions, your video is not going to be shown for a month and a half, and I have to go through the whole appeal process, fill out a bunch of forms, go through all this legal crap, and just to get it shown. So absolutely not. That is a no. We cannot delay a contest for this reason. How are the contest reviews and deadlines going to line up? Like, if people are entering both contests and the deadline for the action contest is around the end of the spotlights of the mini park, does that mean when the mini park reviews happen, people could find themselves bumped up a bracket after the action coaster deadline? Well, I kind of explained this, and in terms of how things line up, the mini park videos will be still going up until about the end of October, beginning of November. The action coaster contest ends mid or near the end of October. Those extra weeks from the time that you guys submit until the time that the mini park ends is my time to record all the action coasters. So it gives me about 2-3 weeks to record, edit, and set for auto release. So I'll be hopefully done recording and editing and publishing all of these action coaster contests the moment the mini park contest ends. Now I can work on the results videos, and then the action coaster videos start coming out at the same time the results of the last contest. Now in terms of the promotions, that's going to have to happen on the back end, as I explained earlier, and then you guys will get announced and you'll jump up, and then you'll magically be in the rank you're supposed to be in. I'm sure we'll figure it out. Is there a minimum duration for the coaster? Like, would a 20-second coaster be qualified if those 20, even if those 20 seconds are full of action? We didn't put a minimum duration, but it needs to be a video worth watching. So I'm not going to publish a 20-second video. Nobody on YouTube does that. If your coaster's shorter than your introduction, what's the point? I would say you want to make a thoroughly entertaining coaster if you want to win. And I think a thoroughly entertaining coaster is going to be at least a minute or two, if at the very minimum. I would try to shoot for like a 3-minute coaster minimum. That way we do the introduction, we walk the queue, we ride the coaster, we talk about it for a bit. We want to try to get, on average, a good solid 10 minutes worth of content for the viewers. So a little bit of an introduction, watch a coaster, talk about it, 10 minutes. So I mean, I would shoot for 5 minutes minimum if possible. I don't know, what did the other coasters look like from the examples? Tornado Chasers, Warm Gars, Feeling Rage, those ones. I'm pretty sure they were pretty decent durations. But yeah, I don't want short coasters that are less than 60 seconds. Is it allowed to be based off TV shows and movies? And do we have to have custom? You don't have to have custom supports, and you can base it off anything you want. Does it have to be realistic? No. Does the coaster have to use standard action film effects with explosions, destruction, car crashes, guns, or do more kid-friendly story as long as the focus is on effects? Example, can effect be cute cat jumping into a box, or does it have to explode for it to qualify? No, I said this even in my examples, that like, if you guys do want to do a wave racer and it's just jumping through hoops and crashing into water and there's big giant splashes everywhere, and then the coaster's doing flips and there's I don't know, fireworks, you could do whatever you want. You have crocodiles jumping out of the water, sharks swimming about. As long as it's action orientated, yeah, it doesn't need a single explosion or car flipping or anything like that. Just make it action packed. So even like if you think back to some of Brad Hamilton's like James Bond ones, there was a lot of action and certain points where there wasn't any explosions, guns, or shooting or anything like that. It was just maybe like a helicopter flying and some water splashes and some trees blowing and some trees falling, some stuff like that. So for the audio, if it did require credits in the description, could we put those in the contest form? That way it's easy to copy paste. Yeah, I mean, so I mentioned this earlier at the end of the last the rules video. Some of the YouTube royalty free music actually says in order to use this, you have to put credits in the description of your YouTube video. And technically, if you didn't do that and some person pre-screened your video and looked for it and they said, hey, that guy used my music and didn't credit me, they can flag the video. And in the past, it gets complicated because I use a song that requires me to put it in the description, but I only use a piece of it and I put it in this video, and then by the time I publish it and put it up, it's already behind 6 or 7 recordings I did. I forget that that's the one that I was supposed to put the credits in. And when you're dealing with so many videos and so many things, by the time you actually go to publish it, you don't have you can't have notes sitting there for every single thing that you're doing. And remember that, I mean, it could get really hairy and complicated, but I do agree with Starport here that if you find something from the YouTube royalty-free library and it does require the artist, put it in the description so that I can at least have a chance to do that to avoid the copyright. But technically everything on the YouTube library is royalty-free and it won't get you flagged, so you're immediately okay, you're clear. The chance that artist or someone kind of, I guess, rats you out and says this was supposed to have a credit in the description is very rare, but I do my best to try to remember, and if you guys remind me, that would be great. If not too late for Q&A, what about G-forces for this contest? Do we care? No, we don't care. As long as the ride feels fun and it's not a terrible experience. Can we have a pre-show in the queue? I think I already explained that. Not in the queue, but in the station would be good. Does it have to be a complete coaster? I think we've decided on yes. I know you said you don't care about the outside of the coaster and only the experience, but do you care about the outside of the station and queue? Well, the queue I care about because we want something to entertain us while we're reading off your description and introducing you and your creation. We want to see what's going on in the queue. So yes, I care about what's in the queue. We already explained that. And then the station, outside of the station, I mean, as soon as your coaster leaves the station, the action coaster begins. So obviously we care what's outside your station because that's your action coaster. Can we use Zalxor's remix? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous because it's a 10-second remix and it's mine. I do not know if it's too late for us this question, but does the action coaster have to be full of special effects and animatronics, or can it just be full of illusions, tricks, and lights and non-moving pieces? I mean, if those illusions, tricks, and lights are entertaining and full of action, of course. I'd say a lot of Pixelated's creations have been somewhat action coasters, so I think that answers that question. You say we need a queue for the coaster. Does that mean we also need to have an entrance plaza and entrance? No, you don't need any of that. But I mean, if you so choose that and we're walking down the queue and we see stuff like a sign, a plaza, that's part of your queue. So if that's what you feel you need, then add it. Are collabs okay? I don't think that's fair. That's 2v1 because everyone else is a single person and you are a pair. So you're gonna most likely beat everybody. Do we have to abide by the G-Force rules? No, you don't. Can the ride be based off of the movie or yes. Just to confirm, no, there is no limit how much I grab from the workshop depending on my theme, or do I have to limit myself to what I grab? There is no limit. You can use whatever you want off the workshop. However, if you're gonna sit there and just download everything that you need, it better be cohesive. So if you downloaded something from like Darks and you put it with somebody from Augie, they are two completely different creators. None of their creations would look good next to each other because they are opposite. They build way different stuff. So you want to stay consistent on what you're using from the workshop and make sure it matches one cohesive theme. If you're building a cyberpunk coaster, I expect there to not be Western pieces and this and that. So make sure everything's cohesive. You might want to modify things to make sure that they match. If someone has a certain build style, it's going to stand out from other build styles. So now it's your job to modify them and make them look like they cohesively exist in the same universe. I hope that answers the question. Is there a maximum track length or maximum triggers as not to blow up our computers? No. As long as your coaster's not 15 minutes long. I mean, I guess that's okay. Yeah, I think that's just a little overkill. But yeah, no limit to your triggers as long as I'm getting a tolerable frame rate higher than 20 FPS on my machine. Oh boy, this is a big one. Is there a certain number of action-packed moments you want to see throughout the ride, or was there a ratio of action-packed moments not to action-packed moments we generally need to be an action coaster? Like, will we be disqualified if we feel there should have been more action? How can we ensure it's action-packed enough? This makes sense. I feel a lot of people would be uber bummed out if they created a really awesome ride but got disqualified because they needed one more action-packed scene. So there is a physical number. No, there's no physical number. Basically, I've never been too hard on you guys in terms of disqualifications. Now, the mini park contest might have some disqualifications, and we'll talk about that later. But in terms of like the last coaster contest, I think is going to be the best example for disqualifications, the dueling coaster contest. I think there was only 3 or 4 that were disqualified, maybe 5 at max, because they didn't follow the rules and it was completely incomplete. I think with the dueling coaster contest, I was very generous in the fact that I would say there's some things that were below advanced level quality and not really very entertaining for the viewers that I still released anyways. Now, as recently, that's why we've changed things to be more advanced quality, because I don't want to waste the viewers' time and show them a creation that's subpar and not entertaining and kind of boring. But at the same time, my old thought process was I want to give everybody a chance to be seen and give them feedback to improve. Unfortunately, that comes with the cost of wasting other people's time. So I have to try to strike a balance. So if you try hard, you get featured. If there is room for improvement, but you still tried, it's still entertaining. Therefore, I can show it and I can still provide feedback. So I think advanced is kind of the quality we want to set. So if I ride your coaster and I thought it was horrible, I'll probably just throw out the recording. I cannot pre-screen these. I have to ride all of the coasters. So I'm going to probably record all of the coasters this time and throw them out after. So if you're doing below advanced level quality and you think that your creation is bad or you're not happy with it and you submit it anyways, you're basically wasting your time and mine. But if you're proud of your creation and you like it and it's action-packed and there's a lot of action in it and you enjoy the amount of action there is, I will too. So if it's a 5-minute ride and it's just putzing along and then there's one explosion and then it ends, it's probably underwhelming to anyone that watches it. So just show your creation to someone, and if they think it's good, it's likely going to make it onto the show. There's no set amount of action required. Would you consider a fast-paced tour with effects and general wildness an action ride? I guess I want to do something outside of the box when just cars and animatronics everywhere and more crazy experience sync to a song. No, this is exactly what I said earlier and what I said in the rules. Try to get creative. I don't think explosions and cars flipping is the only thing you can do. Try to get creative. So going through the wilderness could be good. Maybe if you could find some things off Theme Maker Toolkit, like a cheetah running by, or hippos jumping up, crocodiles, birds flying as you're brushing, going through shrubs and trees, and you pop out the other side. I think that's actually a really good visual experience. You're plowing through bushes, purposely bushwhacking, and then you pop out of the bushes and you just see a bunch of birds fly. If you could get something like birds flying on Theme Maker Toolkit, I don't know. You see all these birds fly out, and then you're about to fall off a waterfall. Then you just drop straight down and plummet down a waterfall into the water, and then you see fish swimming. And now you're going through the water. Or why did I say wilderness? Wildness. I don't know. Hopefully that answers your question. Will there be a break in between mini spotlight vids and action spotlight vids, so regular spotlights? Technically, when the mini park contest ends, the last submission, I think the Action Coaster contest starts the next day. And the results videos would possibly be... I'm either going to give a break for the results videos, or the results videos are just going to go up while the Action Coasters are going up. And the regular spotlights, I think I mentioned that earlier. We're going to try to get some park spotlights on the weekend, in addition to the coaster spotlights of the action contest. And right now we're getting non-stop parks, but I think Zell wants to release some coasters. So this is the first time ever we actually have back-to-back contests rolling from one into the other. And we're also the first time ever going to be releasing regular content on top of it. So we're really doubling down on the content. There's going to be a lot of content, contests with regular stuff simultaneously, so we don't really need a break, because we're just going to give it all to you. So quite awesome. Yeah, what happens to the regular spotlights? Will they just be not seen for months, or maybe you need to film some of them now? Yes, we're filming some now, but seriously, what happens to those non-contest spotlights? Are you planning to notify, and are you guys... Okay, so yeah, we explained that. Are we planning to notify people that if they get disqualified before the action video spotlights start dropping? So disqualifications is a touchy subject, obviously. I want to try and showcase everybody's, and in the past, I've pretty much done that. There's only been a handful, like 5 at most, in every contest that gets disqualified, and they don't follow the rules and they don't meet the quality standards. But now we have risen the bar to advance quality, and with the mini park contest, we got 200 submissions. Now think about 200 submissions. That's almost half the amount of days there are in a year, over half the amount. If we did 1 video a day, we'd be looking at 6.5 months to get through a contest. If I do 2 a day, we're looking at almost 4 months for a contest. That is too long to get through a contest. So we have to reduce numbers that are not meeting, and that's why the advanced quality standard is definitely important here. So there will be more DQs to make the length of the contest, tolerable for the viewers. We have to be able to get through this in a timely manner. Ideally, I think the max amount of submissions that we could probably ever handle would be probably about 180 for a 3-month-long contest, and that's stretching it. Ideally, it would be 120. So if we could reduce the numbers anywhere between 120 and 180 for a tolerable length of a contest at 2 videos a day, that's what needs to happen. So if we get 300 submissions, we have to make cuts. But if we get 120 action coasters that are all amazing, we won't disqualify anything. So if I ride a coaster and I absolutely don't like it, I won't show it. If I ride a coaster and I thought it was pretty good, it's getting shown. And so if there are disqualifications, in this case, for the action coaster contest, we just won't show them and we'll message everyone privately. For the mini park contest, the disqualifications, I have come to the decision that I'm going to show anyways, but in a rapid fire way. We show all the disqualifications in one video, so you will find out who hasn't been featured, and you'll still see their feature. That's a very generous move for me, and it's probably only going to happen this time only. Any park restrictions in terms of size and height? Nope. How many cats a year fall because of spotlights? Falling theme park kitten pandemic. There's probably about 200 cats that fall from coasters a year, and we currently have about 110 patrons. So if we get 90 more patrons, we can put an end to falling theme park kittens once and for all. So become a patron today and save the kittens tomorrow. Is there any limit to how many blueprints you can use when building your action coaster? Just keep it to a point where the game still runs on my machine. If you have a bad computer, optimize. Only build what you need to see. Delete the backsides of blueprints if you don't see them. But there is no limit to how many blueprints you can use, in theory. Kat is talking about doing a volcano blast coaster like ride. Has me wondering if there's a minimum length the ride has to be. I would like a good length coaster. We talked about this earlier. And if you were doing a volcano, maybe the coaster starts inside the volcano. It erupts, you blast through the volcano, it pushes you up, you ride down the mountain, running from the lava, and then you hit the city, and you're going through the city, and then you get to the water, and now you're going through the water, and then it comes back around to the volcano. There's things you could do to stretch it out so the experience isn't, oh, I went to the bottom of the volcano, that's it, coaster's done. You have to bring that, and that's why I also think it's good to bring that coaster back around into the station. So can action equal horror? Yes, absolutely. That was one of the examples that was given, was the forgotten, something forgotten? Frick. It's in the rules form. I showed it. It's Chance Coaster. It was the action horror coaster. Q&A question, can the ride exceed G-force limits to sync with music action? Yes. I mean, we already said you can exceed the G-force limits. Will YouTube flag voiceover from movies? Yes, it will actually. We've had it in the past where I think Tommy T or Brad Hamilton used entire voiceover segments for James Bond or Tron, and YouTube will flag that. There is ways around it if you put modifiers on it so it doesn't quite sound like them, the audio peaks differently, and you maybe put like a robot transformer on it so it sounds a little bit different. There are ways around it, but the rule of thumb for me, when I use voices in my videos, or I use clips from movies in my videos, I've done that many times. Whatever picks up sound effects, music, and voices on YouTube, it's generally segments that are longer than 7 seconds, I want to say. So if you do just like a, I don't know, like a meme, like disappointed from Hercules, it's just a small clip. It won't get recognized. It won't get picked up, as far as I can tell. I'm not putting my guarantee on there, but I'd rather you guys didn't use that stuff and just fully voice it yourself, or get someone else that can help and try to recreate that as close as possible. But if you're using a giant 20-second from Star Wars and it's just some speech or something, it's gonna get flagged. So, I mean, in terms of sound effects, taking a clip of a voice or a couple clips of a voice or a few seconds of a voice, that should be fine. So just don't overdo it. And again, if it gets flagged, it's a waste of everyone's time. Are you already regretting the custom audio? Sort of, but not really. Because if it's custom audio, that means you made it yourself from scratch and you composed the music and you are an audio engineer. Therefore, that custom audio is your own and it will not get flagged. So I should have no regrets for custom audio, but I'm regretting it because a lot of people are either asking the wrong questions or getting the wrong impressions. So as long as you read what I said and listen to what I said about custom audio, we should be fine. Your submission must be new and original work and cannot rework a previous creation. Does this mean I cannot submit Fueling Rage 2? Well, Warmgar, you are the original creator of Fueling Rage. So it is your own original work that you would be making a sequel to, so you can absolutely make Fueling Rage 2. If Augie came along and made Fueling Rage 2, I think that would be a slap in the face to you, and it's not his original work. Sometimes we can't control if somebody accidentally names something similar to another previous creation, but just try to do a little research first, guys. I think that's our last question. Boom. So hopefully that answers up everybody's questions. I'm just going to end off the video here, cut it short. Thank you for everyone who asked a question. I hope that clears the air, and I hope you have fun with this contest, and good luck, everybody. Bye now.